Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface, and today I'm going to do something slightly different, so let's crack open the Dalaran fireworks. I'm stood here at Wayward Landing, which is the Alliance start point for your new questing from level 85 to 90 in the World of Warcraft's new expansion, Mr. Pandaria, which is out late this year. But before I start to do anything, I'm going to reduce my graphical setting from ultra down to good, and the reason why I'm doing that is this is a beta server and there are problems with it, and running the game at ultra spec causes a lot of in-game crashes, critical errors, screen freezes and general problems. So just remove it down a couple of notches to good. It won't affect your game at all. In actual fact, it will probably boost your gameplay experience, full stop. Now, if you'd like to have a more in-depth look at the quests that I'm picking up, just feel free to pause the video and have a look. I'll keep it open for a couple of moments beforehand, so you can do that. But the initial quests are very basic. First of all, I just have to put out some fires, which are raging within the Wayward Landing, and then after I put these fires out, I have to nip outside and I have to kill a bunch of monkeys, because nothing says I've just bought Blizzard's new World of Warcraft expansion than going out and wiping out the indigenous life forms of a new continent. It feels like 1492. I can sense it. Anyway, let's move on. One thing that is very satisfying is I love putting fires out with my bucket. I always have, ever since that Halloween quest, and I think Blizzard need to release the bucket as an offhand quest reward item. And then our final fire, oh, there's somebody sat in there. Is it a warlock? Is it a monk? If it is a monk, it's probably Tibetan. And then let's pop outside to take care of these monkeys. Now, these monkeys are currently using the most dangerous and sophisticated Azeroth technology that's available. Now, as a member of the Alliance, I unfortunately can only attack them with magic, cannons, guns, swords, axes, death knights, things like that, whereas these monkeys have spears. That's right. Very sharp, pointy spears. Not Brittany, just wooden. Well, it could be Brittany, I suppose, but there you go. Yes, they might as well have just had a load of barrels with fish coming up to Wayward Landing, and then we could have sat on a gun and then just blown up these fish that were in the barrel. And I tell you what, that probably would have been a more exciting quest than just going outside and killing 12 monkeys. 12 monkeys. I've heard that somewhere before. Anyway, one thing that you can see though is there are a couple of changes with the new mage rotation and the new arcane spec, and that is you can now store up to 2 lots of arcane missile. Instead of when one procs, it just flashes for X amount of time, and if you don't get rid of it, it will drop off. That's still the case, but at least it stores it up twice, so you can get significant burst damage out should you require it. And the arcane blast now works slightly differently, in as much as when you apply the debuff to yourself by using it, it increases the damage of your arcane blast by 100%, which is an increase on the current one. And also, for each number of debuff, you can hit additional targets with your arcane barrage. So if I had 4 stacks of debuff on me while I was using the arcane blast, and then I fired off an arcane barrage into a crowd of mobs, it would hit up to 4 extra mobs with the arcane barrage, and each can crit individually, and they all hit as individual arcane barrage strikes. It doesn't spread the damage, so it's a very nice burst damage and it's very nice AoE damage. So we've completed those first 2 quests. The monkeys have been taken care of, and also the fires, and it's phased us now, so there's no more fires in the landing and there's no more explosions. We're not getting attacked by the monkeys either, and I'm getting on to the first proper set of quests where it's sending me out into Pandaria, this beautiful new world with its extra special shadings and textures and colours. And so what's it do? It sends us out to do some very generic kill and collect quests. As a person that has played World of Warcraft for a significant number of years, I can't think of anything more deflating as an existing subscriber than to take on this wonderful new expansion, which I've raved about in my previous videos from what I've seen with the aesthetics and the changes to the locations, the brand new locations they've brought on, some of these wonderful little creatures, the changes they've made to your rotations and your specs, and all this kind of thing. And then as soon as you get down to the nitty-gritty of leveling up, it just puts you on to very basic kill and collect quests. And that sort of lack of imagination with Blizzard is simply depressing, because if, from my point of view as a subscriber, if I was entering this world which was trying to emphasize that the Alliance and the Horde were absolute loggerheads and they were scrapping and this forced them to crash onto Pandaria, one side with the Horde and one side with the Alliance, and there's this massive war that brewed, just to start off in a landing killing 12 monkeys and chucking some water on some fires is ridiculous. Why couldn't we start the expansion with a wonderful sort of set scene where we all got onto a ship, there was a big group of us, we had to man some cannons, we were having a bit of a scrap with the Horde, it got us to a point where it just separated the two ships and then we'd go off and crash in our respective starting points, and at least that would have set up what the expansion was trying to give. So again, just disappointing on the way that it tried to position itself. So I've killed 12 monkeys, I've thrown some water on a fire, I've picked 4 flowers, I've killed 8 bears or 8 lions, and then I've got to get 5 steaks from some porcupine-esque type creatures, which never seem to drop. It really reminds me of that basilisk brain quest, if you can remember, back in the Blasted Lands, where you had to collect X amount of basilisk brains, and you ended up killing about 50 basilisks to get about 8 brains or something ridiculous like that. So suddenly you were thinking, wait a minute, are there 42 basilisks in the Blasted Lands that don't have a brain? They're just walking around like, no brain, no. Anyway, ridiculous. So at the minute, uninspiring start, and it could be a lot better. On the flip side to that, you could argue that Blizzard are saying, look, we've given you these new spells, these new rotations, we've flipped it all around, we're just trying to ease you in. We're just trying to ease you into using these with some generic quests. And we could be forgiving them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm more of the opinion that it's just lazy. It's just lazy questing to go, God, now, come on, we'll just chuck some kill and collect quests at them and they'll be happy. So fingers crossed they get a little bit more variety within the leveling up process and a little bit more interesting. Otherwise it just forces people into leveling up through dungeons, which is just far more fun than probably going around doing kill and collect quests, and you'll get better items. And to be honest with you can come back and do these when you get more money for the quest rewards. So we shall see. But this quest initially kind of got my goat, because you have to get these stakes from this creature. And when I killed the first one, it dropped a stake straight away. So I was like, brilliant, okay. This has obviously got a high drop rate. It then took me 4 minutes before I got my next stake, which was just ridiculous. So the drop rate on these stakes are obviously not as high as I previously thought. Now, unless these creatures are anorexic or bulimic, or they have some kind of eating disorder, they're going to have meat on their bones, and when you kill them, you're going to be able to harvest this meat so you can get the stakes off. So it makes no sense that about 10 of these creatures which I kill, which don't deliver me the stakes, don't produce anything. So anyway, bit of a whinge, bit of a rant, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to give a constructive opinion on this game so far. And don't you just love when people stand on quest givers? Yes, stand a little bit further on them so nobody can speak to them. It's far better for everyone's gameplay experience. Yeah. Why do people do that? What forces them to do that? They could just stand 5 yards back. Just 5 yards back, and everybody could speak to the quest givers. Anyway, I'm sort of playing the pantomime villain at the minute, so Now, at least these next couple of quests that I'm going to do are going to show something slightly different than we've seen before. And the first one is there's a brand new icon which is going to appear above these people's heads. Now, I've been sent here to try and find 3 people that have gone missing. And as you can see, they now have a golden speech bubble above their head. And that means that these are the people that you need to talk to. Previously, it just highlighted the name of the person above that had either a a low-level quest or something like that, they're a point of interest for you to go to. So this is now highlighting specifically that these people are the quest people that you need to speak to. And as you can see, as I'm speaking to them, they are phasing instantly into the next zone. So the guy that was stuck in the tree fell out the tree. The woman that was sat by the broken plane suddenly got up and started to follow me. So at least that bit showed a slight change. Now the quest that she's given me afterwards is again a little bit different at last from just generic kill and collect. But I'm slightly confused by it. Apparently, according to the quest text, I've got to go out and help 6 wounded seafaring folk. But I'm not sure that I am, because when we find them, the Drene is healing them using a bandage, and I'm kneeling down, beating the crap out of them. So, how does that exactly work? What am I doing? Am I trying to revive them? And the last time I did CPR, I didn't just stand there braying the crap out of somebody's chest until somebody else went, yeah, they'll be right, they'll be fine. But okay, at least it's something different, isn't it? And these crew members are scattered all around the place, and they're easy to find. And they're glowing, and then you can bash them. Go on, bash them back to life. So what? It's an MMO, isn't it? It's a violent MMO. You go around killing stuff all the time. Why can't you revive people by punching them? Kind of figures. Makes sense, doesn't it? Look at this little campsite. Surely there's a seaman there. No seaman at the campsite. Let's move on. Let's try and find our final one. And there they are. So let's go and get this person. And then once we complete this quest, I believe we can happily go back to the Wayward Landing and hand them all in and get our next set. So finally, something a little bit different in the, yay, I've just been attacked and knocked off my horse. Ha ha! Invisible, sucker. Didn't see that coming, did you? No. See, I got the brains. So when we hand these quests, at least we've seen something different. We're bringing some very generic quests, which are quite boring. Kill, collect, kill, collect, kill, collect. And then at least we had to go around and do something a little bit different with reviving some crew members. Now, we've seen these kind of quests before with the bandages, but it's nice to see a little bit of a different graphic and also a different scenario where you punch them back to life. So you saw I got a quest reward. I just flashed it up. Again, if you want to have a look at the stats on the items that you get, they're 372 items, I believe, green as well, that start off as your quest rewards. Just pause the video and then you can have a little bit of a look at the stats. So I'm going to finish this off now by doing the final bunch of quests by this ship, which we're going to find. And then after that I shall stop and we'll come and we'll pick this leveling up experience a bit later on, where hopefully things might get a little bit more interesting the further we descend into the Jade Forest. But here we are, and I'm happy to say at least these lot of quests start to develop a little bit of a storyline, which is good. Now here we are, and we've come across a destroyed or shipwrecked Alliance ship, but there seems to be a little bit more here than meets the eye. So let's pick up the quest. So what it's asking us to do at the minute is to do a couple of basic things, which yes is collect and kill, and then we also have to find some clues as to why this ship ended up being here, and that's what's going to advance the storyline, and it is at least a little bit more interesting. So they put that little seafaring helmet on you, and I haven't sped the film up even more. When you go underwater, you do actually start to go really fast. So it's still going at the 2 times speed, which I normally just make things a little bit quicker. But you're sort of whizzing through under the water rather quickly as I pick up these little items. So what I'm going to do first is just pick up the items and then go outside and start to kill these Rorus type creatures with it's not like a Rorus and a lion have mated, and they've got a little attack which this one doesn't do because it's right next to me, but the others do, and that's when they get a little bit piece of candy. When they get a little bit further away from you, they'll do a charge, and you'll see it lining me up for a charge. You saw there where the ground started to plume up with dirt. That was it basically setting where it wanted to charge. So if you've got any brains, you'll move out of it, which is why, of course, I never moved out of the charge from that moment onwards. I showed you how to do it, and then I just stood and took the charge every single time that I carried on to kill the Rorus, because the kind of guy I am. So at least I managed to miss that one, but I think it was more out of luck than skill. So let's go around. We just kill the last couple of remaining ones. I think they're just there stranded on. So again, nothing majorly excited. I'm more interested in getting to the ship and discovering what happened there, and then hopefully that will advance the storyline and get us a little bit more interested in what's going to happen later on in the expansion. And nothing really interesting dropping off them either. So there's been no greens or anything like that dropped so far. Nothing that I can swap out from my existing item ranges, but not to worry. So here we are. We're going into the ship itself. And what's the first thing that we find? We find some Horde battle plans. The plot thickens. And then we find this Royal Alliance chest. Apparently Jaina Proudmoore's got one of them. And then we have this flag of Lordaeron for Lordaeron. Even though it's got absolutely nothing to do with the Alliance anymore, because Arthur screwed it all up, and then Sylvanas built the Undercity underneath it. So why we keep going about Lordaeron is beyond me. And then finally we're going to see this new icon, the second new icon above somebody's head. He's over there, which is like a little cog. And again, that means this is a person of interest, or something of interest. So we've got an Alliance bodyguard, we've got some Horde battle plans, we've got a royal chest, we've got a flag of Lordaeron. So yes, can you begin to imagine what's starting to happen here? Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, so I won't ruin anything for you. Now, after I've handed in these few quests, I'll just highlight any rewards so you can have a look at the stats of them. Then we're going to get the very final quest, which is to spread some C4 charges around the ship and get rid of the evidence so the Horde can't get their hands on it. So again, we're going to go into a little bit of a phasing process because we're going to blow up the ship. And Blizzard have said that they're trying to reel back a little bit on the use of phasing within the new expansion, because it kind of put people out of sorts with guild members or friends if they were at two different junctions within a questing area and they couldn't help each other out. But personally, I think that phasing is a very good way to make storytelling a lot more exciting and a lot more engaging, and I personally would like to see more of it, but we shall see. So there you go, the 4 charges have been set. I'm now going to blow up the ship, if I can get to the people in time. Oh, there's a few people that stood around the detonator, so no drama there. I do hope you've liked this video, guys. Please like on my YouTube channel, please subscribe, and also any comments will always be well received. We'll pick this questing later on in the week, but I will be bringing you some videos in the upcoming week about the new Warlock pets, and also the new Warlock resource system for both Demonology and Affliction to go along with the one that I've already done for Destruction to keep in the know-how. So my name's been Az, the channel is Heel versus Babyface, and I'll leave you today with a nice little graphic of this ship in fire. So you take care, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.